So last night I got the opportunity to do something that I've been wanting to do for a long time. I got to host my very first guitar clinic, and I did this at Replay Guitar Exchange in Tampa. And in this video, I'm gonna share the experience with you. Now, real quick, I just want to give a tremendous shout out and thank you to the folks at Replay Guitar Exchange and my good buddy Riff with Cliff for making this happen. And also a quick shout out to Jim Brady at MediaStream Pro for capturing such amazing footage that you guys are about to see. Oh, and make sure you hang around till the end because there's something that I forgot, and yeah, I'm going to share that with you too. I'm going to start out by playing one of my own songs here, and then we'll kind of talk about that for a little bit. My band didn't show up. I don't know where my drummer or bass player is, so it's just me. So let's kick it off. So now I want to share just some tips on rhythm playing with you guys. One thing you'll notice with both of these songs, I picked both of these songs, for a reason. Both songs have some unique sounding power chords. And when we talk about power chords, a lot of times we think of, just that root note in the fifth note. Let's just play a G, for example. Sounds pretty cool. But there's some different ways we can play that. So what if, for example, I were to take, that fifth note off and just bar those two notes on the third fret? It would sound like this instead. Now, what if I played that second note, the next note up, the next fret up, which would be frets 3 and 2? Sounds like this. So now put that together with a power chord. So that's just some different ways you can, just different things you can do to your power chords to kind of spice them up a little bit. Another common power chord, us metalheads, we love to play in the key of E minor, right? So here's your typical E minor. If you were to play it on the on your D and G, your A and D strings, you got frets 7 and 9 there, right, on those strings. Well, instead, I want you to try, and especially if you have your guitar in your hand right now, try playing frets 7 and 5. So that second note's going to be actually above where you're used to playing. It would sound like this. So much different sound, but it's something to think about when you're writing your own riffs, when you're writing metal songs, to kind of get away from that, well, this is a normal way to play the power chord. This kind of gives you more opportunities to throw in those chops as well. So let's try something else with that E minor power chord down here. So you see what I just did there? We kept that root note the same, right? The only note that we changed was the note that supports that follows that. So we played the regular power chord, but then we changed that, right? We changed the frets that we played those on. So that gave us some different sounds, some different textures, and it can make your song sound a lot more captivating and exciting. So let me show you just a couple more chords here. Let's go to our C. All right, frets 3 and 5 on our A and D strings. So instead of playing 3 and 5, let's play 3 and 4. Now 3 and 2. Now 3 and open. So taking into account all those that we just did, let's see how that sounds. So you see how many different sounds we can get out of that one power chord. So you can just run with this for days. So I wanted to share that. I want to take a moment and share that with you guitar players out there, to just kind of think differently about your power chords and how you structure them, and just think about these different notes that you can add into your rhythms, and it brings out your music more, and it's going to give you more of a signature sound. As you start playing around with these methods, you'll come up with different things. And remember, there's no right or wrong way to do this. And if you hit a wrong note that's not supposed to be in that progression, well, you're going to know it. You're going to hear that. So, but just play around with that as you're practicing your power chords, and as you're writing, kind of think outside of that power chord box and integrate these different notes into that. All right, so we've talked about rhythms. We're going to talk a little bit about leads next, and I'm going to highlight a couple of tracks here. This song is called Redemption. It's actually the first track off of my very first album called Apocalyptic Dreams. I released this back in, 2013, a long time ago. So let's kick it off. hear that track because it's not out yet, but it will be in about 3 months from now. So now I want to kind of share some things about lead guitar with you guys. Some things I feel are really important. One thing is, like, everybody and their mom wants to shred these days, and that's okay. That's fine. You know, you're scrolling through Instagram, we're watching Facebook right now, and you know, you see someone that's just shredding up and down the neck, and then there's a 14-year-old girl in Japan doing it 10 times better and faster. And sometimes I can make you think, just, well, crap, man, I'm just going to throw in the towel, you know, at this point. I'm never going to get to that level. But I want to say something to you guys to let you know that you understand that what you do, no one else can do exactly what you do exactly the way you can do it. Sure, everybody can play a note. You know, I can play just a simple... But if you were to learn those notes, the exact notes I just played, and I don't remember what they are because it's just kind of a curse I have, but if you were to play those exact same notes, if you practice that over and over and over for, let's say, 2 weeks every day, the way you would play those notes would be different than the way I just did, right? So that's what I want to tell you is focus on yourself, not so much on others, on other people's abilities. Focus on what you can do, because that path is going to be unique unto yourself, right? That path is going to be the road that you take, not trying to chase someone else's talent or their tone or what they're doing, but finding your own path. And that's what playing guitar and playing music is really all about. So when I'm thinking of solos, I like to break down my solos into kind of two different patterns. There will sometimes be shred. I'm considered, I guess, a shred guitarist by some. You know, others can do it better than me and whatever. But
I like to play fast, and that's kind of what I started out, but that kind of became my curse, and I'll talk about that in a second. But I've got that part down where I want to showcase some things, but then there's another part that I'm going to play more than what I do with the shredding, and that part is the melodic part. So I played Redemption for you guys right earlier, and you'll notice I did a lot of work up here on the high parts of the fretboard, but there's one melodic pattern that I played for the chorus, quote unquote, and I'll play that real quick. So that almost sounded like a rhythm, that almost sounded like a rhythm pattern, but it was a lead guitar pattern, and that was the melodic part of the solo that I'm talking about. And that's what I want you guys to think about when you're writing your guitar solos. Don't necessarily try to shred up and down the neck every single second of the song. Even when you get to that, that level that you can do that. I don't know how many guitar players I see out there nowadays just shredding up and down the neck, and all they're playing are sweep arpeggios. That's great. It's awesome. It takes a lot of talent to do that. But when that's all you do, to the listener, that becomes old after a while, after about 20 seconds. It's like, okay, can you do something else now? And that's when the listener wants to hear more of those soulful. Then you can throw in your shred. You can kind of cross both of those together when you're thinking that. Now, if you're not at the point where you're shredding, and some of you may not want to shred, and that's okay too. I'm not, I love, and my memory's a bad thing, the guitar player for Pink Floyd, which I really admire a lot. He doesn't shred, but he's like, I think I'm misquoting him here, I'm paraphrasing, but he said something to the effect of, I knew I could never play fast, so I better make those few notes that I play really count. And that's what's more important. And that guy, some of his solos are the most memorable solos in the history of guitar playing, right? So you're not really going to remember the shredding that people do. And I know I shred quite a bit, probably overdo it sometimes. And again, when I started playing guitar back in, oh boy, this is a long time ago. 1989 was the first time I picked up a guitar. There was an acoustic my uncle had with 4 strings on it. And then, him and my dad saw that I was serious about it, so they strung it up, and away I went. A month later, Dad buys me an electric, a little Dean Markley amp, and then that was it. I heard Metallica, and that's what happened. And I heard Joe Satriani. I was like, I want to play metal. So I got caught up, though, into playing leads really, really fast, right away. And in that second year, I got to where I could play really fast, but I fell into this trap that I couldn't play just regular notes on a guitar. Every time I touched the fretboard, it was speed. And actually, sometimes it was a little sloppy, if I'm honest with myself, because I was just trying to play so fast, trying to be impressive. But later, I realized that when I went back and listened to some of my own music and some recordings I did, I realized that, man, right here where I played some melodic notes, that actually sounded way cooler than what I was trying to do over here when I was, just shredding up and down the neck. So I began to kind of like morph into more of that melodic style of playing. So that being said, when you think of writing solos, again, go back to those 2 patterns. Go back to the pattern of melodies, right? Playing those memorable lines, and let that be 75, even 80% of what you play. Then the other stuff, there's a time to showcase. I know a lot of you watching now probably are shredders. You're like, who's telling me not to shred? Screw him, You're going to throw some food at him. Throw a chicken wing. I like those. Anyway, so, I want you to think about that, though, that the shredding's great. It's amazing. It takes immense talent to do that. I'm definitely not knocking that. But I do want you guys to think about the melodies that go with that, because that's the part of your song that people are going to remember. If you want to broaden your audience, you've really got to play in a manner that really speaks to them, right? That meets them on their level, and it's something that they can relate to. So this is why I love Joe Satriani so much, and this is why he's always been one of my idols. He's one of the very few guitar players that he can truly replace the vocals with his guitar. Like, you don't need vocals in his songs. Now, other guitarists I've heard, solo guitarists play, even some of my own music, it's like, okay, it's cool, but something's missing. Well, with Joe Satriani, he plays his guitar in a way where there's nothing missing. It's like, oh wow, I'm taken to this different world, So I think that's really, really cool. So I wanted to share that with you guys, and that's about lead. Now, we talked about riffs earlier, and hopefully you guys got a lot out of that. So I've got a unique track I want you to hear real quick, and this is from my last album called Masterpeace. It's actually the title track. Again, my drummer and bass player, I don't know where they're at. They're probably drinking beer in the parking lot, so yeah.
I see the light in you, and I know we'll make it. Every step we've taken through this realm of time, we've created this masterpiece. Never existed. You're the chosen one. And there was a time. Now I see.
Yeah, it's my song that I wrote, but I forgot my own freaking lyrics. Alright, let's continue.
I will bring you back. Vision of the past. We will pull our back. We will suffer back. Together we attack. Surely they will fall. We will take the ball to the sword we hold. Stand our ground, move, never shall we move. Never will we die. Eternal masterpiece. See the light in me, and I see the light in you, and I know we'll make it. Every step we've taken through this realm of time, we've created this masterpiece.
That was Masterpeace, track number 4 off my album Masterpeace. Masterpiece is master, then P-E-A-C-E. So that kind of piece, like a piece of pizza that I'm going to go eat pretty soon here. So guys, I want to wrap this up just with some gear talk. You know, the thing that we love to talk about the most as guitar players. So I want to share what I'm playing. So this is an ESP. This is actually a model made in the Japanese factory, the ESP E2 Horizon, and it's the Afar 7-string guitar. Actually, it's the first 7-string guitar I've ever owned, and the funny thing is I still struggle with this guitar. You know, I bought it about 2 years ago, recorded an album with it, and it's like, I want to get rid of this thing. It's too many strings. I don't know what to do, you know? So it's one of those things you kind of battle after playing 6 strings only for 30 years, you know? But anyway, the neck on this guitar is awesome. Now, you guys see right behind me, There's another E2, and I think I might trade this one for that one because that one only has 6 strings. But the reason I bought this particular guitar, again, I've had it for a couple years, the neck on this thing is effortless. And, you know, it plays extremely smooth. So, you know, for a 7-string, I played other 7 strings, and it's just like being in a foreign country that I've never been before. But this guitar, you know, for playing 7-string makes it a lot easier. I'm playing through an amp that I'm not used to playing through. So sitting behind me here, I don't know if you guys can see it, but I'm actually playing through the orange Rocker Verb 50 amp. And man, I'm starting to kind of fall in love with this thing, you know, so maybe that'll come home with me, who knows. But yeah, there's 2 channels. The distortion on the orange amps, like, you know, the other orange amps I've played and this one, there's a very distinct tone that these amps give you. The orange amp is really unmatched. It's kind of in its own territory. So again, that's what I'm playing through now, the Rocker Verb 50 behind me. It's 212. Okay, it is Cliff is confirming. Riff with Cliff back here. Thank you guys, by the way, for setting this up. This confirms 212, but it's an amazing amp. I know Replay, of course, has that. I'm not taking it home with me today, so you can come pick it up if you want. It won't break my heart too bad. But no, that's what I'm playing through. Oh, my wireless. Oh, man. So you can this is probably one of my YouTubers asking about that. So yeah, let me take this off. So you guys can see on camera here, I've got this wireless. So a lot of you watching, you may remember the YouTube video I put out a couple of weeks ago from my being on stage playing at the Strawberry Festival. I shared the 3 mistakes I made on stage. You guys know I love to share my mistakes with you so you don't make the same ones I do. I tripped over my freaking guitar cable like twice. I didn't do a complete tumble, but we caught it though. It was on camera, it's like, whoa. And I'm like, okay, that's not gonna happen again. So I have got the Boss, there's some acronyms behind this thing, DL something or another, but it's the Boss wireless. You literally plug this thing into your guitar, you plug the other end, which I've got at my pedal, right, coming out of my, my OD pedal here. That's it, you do nothing. Boom, it just works. I use this thing on my acoustic guitar. My wife and I, most of you guys know we do acoustic covers, that's our side job. So put it on that, it works on that. It even works in my studio. I connect it to my interface. Sometimes I like to stand up and play in the studio when I'm recording because you just don't want to sit all the time. So this thing, you literally you plug it in, there's no on-off switch, and it just works like magic. So Cliff, you sold that to me as well. Thank you, brother. Guys, thank you once again so much. Again, my name is Jason Stallworth. Until next time, keep it metal.
Now, I want to know your comments and your opinions on how this guitar clinic went. And more importantly than the songs that I'm playing. I mean, I know that's kind of cool and all, but I really want to know your thoughts on the things that I was teaching while I was up there, because that's where I want to provide the most value. I really enjoy talking about different things you can do with your rhythms, for example, and talking about how I formulate my guitar solos, and really just giving encouragement and pushing people to really go for their own signature style and sound and just develop those skills on your own without worrying about becoming as good as someone else or playing what someone else is doing, without any of that, because we all have this unique ability within us, and I want to help bring that out in you and every metal guitar player, or every guitar player in general. So if you got some value out of that, I want to know in the comments, or if there's something I could have done better, hey, leave that in the comments as well. Either way, please give this video a thumbs up. Now, real quick, so why did I forget my own lyrics to my own song that I wrote? How did this happen? Here's the thing, guys, and this is not an excuse. I'm not making excuses. I have no excuse. I should have been better prepared for my own music, but here's the thing, though. I don't play my own music that often. In fact, when I released Masterpeace back in September 2019, I didn't touch the songs after that because I wasn't playing out anywhere. You know, I'm a, wee little solo artist here, you know what I mean? So it's not like I'm playing out, night after night, playing my own music like a lot of the bands that tour on a regular basis. Even bands that play their own music once or twice a month out somewhere, they play them repetitively, they play the songs repetitively, so you really know them like the back of your hand. But someone like myself, who is a solo artist and doesn't have a full band to play out with, well, don't really play my music that often, so I'm a bit rusty, hence I'm forgetting the lyrics, and of course I forgot some of my own solos, but that's kind of par for the course anyway. I always forget my solos. So the lesson here, okay, it's an obvious lesson for me anyway, is to really just stay brushed up on my own music, and I want to pass that along to you guys as well, because listen, you never know when you might get the opportunity to play your own music. Even when you're playing like a melodic death metal song like what I played here, I need to stay brushed up on my own music, so when these opportunities come up, I'm not scrambling at the last minute. It's like, oh crap, I've got to learn my own song. I've got to memorize my own lyrics again. So lesson learned, I'm passing that on to you. You just never know when you get these types of opportunities, and you want to be prepared. All right guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video. I had such a great time. Again, huge thank you to the folks at Replay Guitar Exchange. These guys are so good to me. I've got their link in the description of this video. They also take online orders, by the way. I know they're Tampa based, but they also do online orders, and I believe they give free shipping. Tell them I sent you. They will treat you right either way, but hey, tell them I sent you, because that's just the cool thing to do. And again, big shout out to my buddy Jim Brady at MediaStream Pro. I just met this dude last night. He's a phenomenal guy, and man, just the quality of how this whole thing turned out, the quality of the footage, I'm just stoked over that, and I hope you guys appreciate that and enjoyed that. Guys, as always, thank you so much for supporting my music and my channel. Until the next video, as always, keep it metal.